Very excited for our next guest here. Claire Silver is an anonymous AI collaborative artist that works with oil, acrylic, collage, photography, and different digital medium to create her work. Claire's art can be found in the permanent collection of LACMA, has been at Sotheby's London and Christie's New York, and has been exhibited in galleries, museums, and festivals all over the world. Featured in the New York Times, Wired, Fortune, NPR, and countless podcasts, Claire takes every opportunity to explore unending fascination with AI, fight for visibility for this budding art movement with her belief that with the rise of AI, for the first time, the barrier of skill is swept away, and in this evolving era, taste is the new skill. Everyone, please welcome Claire Silver!
Hey, what a nice intro. I don't even have my PFP up. Oh, for shame.
We've got it up there. Thank you so much. This is a huge honor to be speaking with you. A big fan of your work, so I very much appreciate you taking the time to chat with us here.
Oh, thrilled. Couldn't be happier, which, well, I would be if I was there.
So how did you first sort of come to get involved in CryptoPunks, and how did that sort of inform your decision to use a CryptoPunk as your online identity?
Yeah, so I'm going to try and speed run this because it's a heck of a story, but basically I got hit with a life-changing illness and had to quit my prior career, so I spent all my time online, mostly on 4chan, and was teaching myself how to paint via the art boards there. But I came across a crypto thread and thought, gosh, this is absolutely predatory, but I have nothing to lose. And so I started exploring it. And I found an altcoin that I loved, ended up in a Slack chat about that altcoin.
What year was this?
From one, well, it started in 2016, but 2018 is when the crucial part comes into play here.
Gotcha.
So in 2018, I'm in my Slack chat for the altcoin, and I'm talking to someone about CryptoPunks. And I was so mad at myself because I had just missed claim. It was either the day of claim or the day after it closed. And he said, well, I claimed 730. Would you like 3?
And is that somebody who claimed 730?
I sure did, yeah.
Okay.
And you probably know it, I'm very OG. So he asked if I wanted 3, and I said, sure. And he said, on the condition that you hold them till they're in the Museum of Modern Art. And I said, okay. So he sent me 3. I think they were worth about 10 cents at that time. We kind of fell out of touch. The bear happened, and I got demoralized. But I came back in 2020, late 2020, when I saw everything that was happening. Came to the CryptoPunks Discord, and found out it was Mr. 703. It was the person that had claimed 730 that I was chatting with in that Slack chat. And so Mr. 703 and I reconnected, and he introduced me to some of the punks, and they started collecting my work, and it all kind of went from there. Act of kindness, random act of kindness.
And so is that when did you start using the punk as your sort of like identity? At that time, or is this afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to start sharing my AI work online, but I wasn't sure if anyone else would see it as art like I did at that point in time. So I was nervous, but I knew from Twitter and from the Discord that all the people that I respected seemed to have punk VIPs. And it was a mark of them being OG and believing in this, and so I wanted to be one of them. So I started using it as my PFP and started sharing my work.
And how has using a CryptoPunk as like an identity, do you feel that has affected you at all sort of in the kind of more traditional art world that you're kind of trying to break into, just because I know there's a lot of sort of misunderstanding around these? Or do you find that people sort of get that and kind of connect with that?
I think that even people from the traditional art world that are not a fan of NFTs have respect for CryptoPunks. We are a family, and a particularly passionate and well-connected and well-educated family. That makes a difference in the traditional art world and here. So I think it's been a lot of help, actually, in a lot of different ways, but no, definitely not a hindrance.
And what, as someone coming from the art world side of this, what do you see as sort of the lasting impact that you think CryptoPunks will have on the art world? And what are some of the ways you've seen it already sort of change people's perception of digital art?
I mean, it's introduced digital art as an NFTs as a viable, respectable medium. I think people have a hard time wrapping their head around abstract concepts of value. You know, you have a painting above your mantle that you show once a year at a party. Sorry?
Oh no, sorry, I was saying something. The sound guy.
Oh,
What were you saying?
I was just saying that you have, you know, a painting above your mantle that you show off at the Christmas cocktail party once a year to your coworkers, and you know it costs a bunch of money. That's one thing. But you have digital art, and that's hard for a lot of people to grasp value around. I feel like CryptoPunks really opened that door to the masses and to the traditional art world as well. I mean, it sort of takes these grand gestures. You know, you were asking earlier about what's going to get us out of this bear market. I think it's going to be more of these grand gestures. Rafik Anadol is on the dome of Las Vegas right now. Everyone knows who he is that lives there. That's going to be their sort of footstep into this world. You know, he was in the MoMA. Your work is a good example as well. It sort of takes these grand gestures to get people to wake up and start looking into things again. But CryptoPunks are the beginning of that.
What is a grand gesture you would like to see with CryptoPunks?
Oh my goodness. Well, I have to take a second to side note here and say someone should take up Dr. Suss, who I believe is with you today, on his wanting to trade art, big bundle of art for a CryptoPunk, because that would probably make some little news lines at least, and hopefully some bigger ones. And he deserves it, he should be one of us. But in terms of grand gestures, you know, the traditional art world doing things like Sotheby's and Christie's have done things around CryptoPunks, that makes a different audience take notice. But I think just having the people that we have continue to put their money where their mouth is and use their punk to represent themselves instead of selling it for the financial gain, that makes a statement. That is a grand gesture. That's saying this is worth more to me than the financial gain that I could get from selling it. This means something to me. I believe in this. And people respect that. People take notice of that. So stick around and keep, you know, supporting artists and supporting projects to expand.
For sure, for sure. What do you see as sort of the lasting, or sort of how has CryptoPunks affected your own work as a digital artist?
I mean, right when I started selling work for 0.08 ETH or whatever it was in the beginning, after Mr. 73 was collecting from me, Jeeps, who was another punk I hope you all know and love, commissioned some physical paintings from me and paid me ahead of time. Never met me, but I was a punk. and that money was able to support me to continue to do this and to kind of get my foot in the door. So it's affected me from the very start in that way. But also, I don't know, there's a sense of community. We're a tribe, we're a family. And knowing that has given me a confidence with my work, especially in AI, which was super hated for a long time and still has quite a few haters. To know that there are people around me and behind me that believe in, you know, who I am and what I'm doing, that means a lot. That's not something you just find in life, right? And so I feel very lucky to be part of this. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Have you seen any interesting sort of AI, CryptoPunk sort of collaborative work?
I mean, one thing that I've done is take my punk and turn it into a 3D avatar. I was going to use it today to live stream. But there was an issue with but there was an issue. In any case, I used it for an interview yesterday, and you know, I could look at people talking and react to them in real time, and people can see my expressions on my face because it's mapped to my smartphone through motion capture, looking into the phone. But it's modeled on my punk. I feel like that is more me than me. You don't really choose how you look or who you are, or your age, your gender, your race, where you're born. With digital identity, you get to choose, right? And so 1629 is as me as anything is me. Yeah, so I'm using the avatar now, and it feels pretty good.
That's super interesting. Where would you like to see CryptoPunks go from here in terms of gaining more acceptance in society and sort of becoming more sort of like mainstream, I guess? Or is that something you don't really care about and is not something that you are striving for?
I mean, I care about it, but I don't know that any of us are striving for it. I feel like it's a natural consequence of the people that make up this community and what they do. They're doing things that are world-changing, and that's part of why I admire and want to be part of them. And by consequence of that, using that as their PFP, it's going to bring more awareness and more, respect to the mainstream. So I love seeing it at Sotheby's, I love seeing it at Christie's, I love seeing, your party with all of that. I love these kind of things. I think they're important. But as far as what we need to do to bring CryptoPunks into the mainstream, I think that's going to happen anyway by consequence of who we are.
And with the work you've done with sort of museums and that sort of outreach, do you have any tips or sort of for people who are wanting to donate punks to museums or deal with institutions like that? Do you have any tips or sort of insight into how that process works and what might make it easier?
I don't, but Zilmo de Medici would, and he is the reason that I am part of the LACMA. So I would ask him. I'm just grateful to be part of it, but I don't have inner workings, unfortunately.
They are definitely. Is there any other projects? We've got a couple minutes left here. Is there any other projects you're working on that you're excited about that you'd like to sort of talk about here?
Yeah, well, one thing I should shout out while I have a moment too is, apart from Dr. Seth's, Dan Sigel's documentary on our art movement is coming out next year. Please figure out how you can support that. It is exactly what you want it to be. As far as my projects, I'm working on some interactive experiences with Touch Designer. I would love to bring more of an interactive experience to collectors, make them part of things. I love performance art. I feel like that kind of makes it that way. I'm also working on kind of a world, like a VR, AR sort of world, in anticipation of Apple's headset that comes out next year. I feel like that's going to be a huge onboarding opportunity for people to come into NFTs, and I don't want to be late. I like being early. So I'm working on that. It's going to have some influence from Raindrops and the Genesis collection, and possibly some of my other work as well. We'll see how much I can build out for myself and what I need to bring in others, but I'm excited for that.
Awesome, very coolness. Awesome, well thank you so much, Claire Silver, everybody. Thank you very much for being with us.